From characters who shaped his first kills, and the people who helped him fake a normal life, to the ones who might be one bad decision away from finding out who he really is. These are the returning faces in Dexter Original Sin Season 2, but more importantly, what their comebacks actually mean. If Season 1 was a story of how Dexter started, this is where he starts to lose control. And we have to start with the man that runs the show, Dexter Morgan. Dexter Morgan may look like an ordinary teenager, but by the end of Season 1, he had already taken his first step into a much darker life. Now with Season 2 on the horizon, things are escalating fast. He's getting confident, and confidence is dangerous for someone like Dexter. Patrick Gibson returns as the young blood spatter prodigy with a secret, and he's more locked into the role than ever. After the Season 2 renewal was announced, Gibson shared the Deadline article on his Instagram story without saying a word, which in true Dexter fashion might be all that he needed to say. He knows how personal this season is going to feel, and he knows that fans are about to see Dexter take the next step from curious killer to compulsive predator. Season 2 will likely pick up after Dexter's early experiments with Harry's code and push them to the breaking point. What started as targeted justice now begins to blur, because Dexter doesn't just want to kill the right people anymore, he wants to feel something while doing it. That shift, that internal craving, is where things start to fracture, and Michael C. Hall's narration, still acting as the voice of Dexter's inner monologue, will reflect that psychological descent. Expect fewer moments of calm logic and more rationalizations, more self-talk that sounds like denial than discipline. It's the same voice fans know, but warped, as if we're hearing the mask crack from the inside out. And then there's the matter of control. Dexter's compulsions are tied to order, patterns, rituals, rules, but Season 2 may show him slipping. Not entirely, but just enough. A little evidence left behind, a victim who didn't quite fit the code, a kill that wasn't as clean as it should have been. For someone who's always believed he was in control, that's a terrifying realization. The showrunners have promised this prequel won't just show us how Dexter became the Bay Harbor Butcher, it will show us why. Season 1 gave us the foundation. Season 2 is the first crack in the mask. The moment he stops pretending that he's just doing this for justice and starts admitting to himself, if no one else, that he likes it. It took a while for Dexter to shape up into the man we know him to be in the OG show, and in Season 2, it's possible that we get a glimpse of him. It's no longer about whether he'll kill, it's about what happens when he wants to. Things are already cracking, and the next one feeling the pressure might be closer than Dexter thinks. Harry's code was supposed to be the solution, the thing that kept Dexter from spiraling into chaos. But by the end of Season 1, Harry wasn't convinced anymore. The moment he saw the look on Dexter's face, the calm, the detachment, maybe even the satisfaction, he knew that something had changed. And in Season 2, Harry has to face the truth. He might have created something he can't control. Christian Slater's portrayal brings out every layer of this conflict. The sharp detective instincts are still there, so is the tough loving parenting style. But now there's hesitation, doubt. He doesn't truly trust Dexter anymore, and worse, he doesn't fully trust the code. It was built on 2 rules: don't get caught and only kill killers. But Dexter's getting harder to read. The emotions aren't matching the behavior, and if Harry instincts are right, then the second rule might already be broken. Season 2 is shaping up to be a turning point for Harry. In Season 1, he believed that he was giving Dexter a purpose. Now, he's questioning whether he was just giving him permission. That shift is deeply personal, because Harry's not just worried about the people that Dexter might hurt, he's worried about what Dexter's becoming, and that worry is going to affect how he acts going forward. There's a strong chance that we'll see Harry become more hands-on this season, interfering in Dexter's choices, putting pressure on investigations at Miami Metro, maybe even covering things up to buy time. But every move he makes comes with a cost, and Slater plays it with just enough restraint to make you wonder whether Harry is calculating or desperate. Slater hasn't said much publicly about Season 2, but early leaks from production insiders suggest that Harry's arc will run parallel to Dexter's unraveling. The more Dexter slips, the harder Harry tries to hold everything together, but deep down, he's not sure if this can be fixed. And that fear is what makes him dangerous, not just to Dexter, but to everyone involved. This is also the season where the idea of legacy starts to take shape. Harry's trying to protect his son, but he's also trying to protect his reputation. He knows if this all falls apart, he doesn't just lose Dexter, he becomes the cop who trained a serial killer. That weight, that pressure, is going to bleed into every scene he's in, and it raises the biggest question yet. How far will Harry go to make sure no one finds out what he's done? The pressure doesn't stop with Harry. Someone else in the family is starting to notice the shift too. Deborah Morgan is growing up, and she's watching everything. In Season 1, she was Dexter's little sister who just wanted to be taken seriously. She looked up to Dexter, craved his approval, and tried to insert herself into the world of law enforcement any way she could. But by the end of the season, she wasn't just watching Dexter, she was studying him. and in season 2, that curiosity is going to become a problem. Molly Brown is confirmed to return, and she teased it with a subtle Instagram story. "Hello, Dexter Morgan." It's a nod to the original series' most iconic line, but also a quiet warning. This season, Deb's going to be asking more questions. She's smart, emotionally reactive, and already suspicious of secrecy that surrounds her family. Dexter has always underestimated her, but this time, that might be a mistake. There's real potential for tension this season between the siblings. Dexter loves Deb, probably more than anyone else in his life, but that love doesn't erase the fact that he's living a lie around her, and Deb's not blind to the inconsistencies. In season 1, she brushed off Dexter's strange behavior. In season 2, she's going to push for answers, and she won't be satisfied with vague explanations. This puts Dexter in a dangerous position. He can't lie to her too obviously, or she'll snap. He can't tell her the truth because she'll never forgive him, and if Harry senses that Deb is catching on, he might try to shut her down himself, which could destroy their already fragile dynamic as a family. We may also see Deb start shadowing Harry's work more seriously, getting involved in actual cases, and putting herself in positions where she sees the aftermath of what Dexter's doing. If that happens, all signs point to it, then her questions won't be hypothetical anymore. They'll be about blood patterns, forensics, gaps in the official stories, and worst of all, patterns that only show up when Dexter is nearby. Molly Brown plays Deb with the right balance of vulnerability and force. She's quick to anger, but even quicker to care. That emotional whiplash is what makes her so compelling, and so dangerous to Dexter's secret. Because if Deb does figure something out, she won't keep it to herself. She'll act on it. And that kind of pressure, coming from the person that Dexter cares about the most, could be enough to make him slip. Season 2 may be the beginning of a long, slow burn, the unraveling of trust between brother and sister. And if it is, then by the time the truth finally breaks through, there may not be any love left to save it. If Deb starts asking the right questions this season, it's over. So hit that like button if you're already nervous for Dexter, and you should be. Secrets are piling up, and someone at Miami Metro is bound to walk straight into one. Angel Batista might not be the most intimidating presence at Miami Metro, but he's always been observant, and that makes him a threat, even if he doesn't realize it yet. In season 1, Angel came across as genuine, loyal, and eager to do the right thing, but now that we're entering season 2, his role is shifting. He's still the friendly face, still cracking jokes in the break room, but behind the scenes, Angel is paying closer attention, and if he sees too much, he could become one of Dexter's earliest and most accidental obstacles. James Martinez is confirmed to return, and he celebrated the announcement with a thank you message to fans. Dexter fans have spoken, and they were heard loud and clear. Looking forward to working with you all again and continuing this incredible origin story. It's clear Martinez is excited, and his phrasing suggests that Angel's involvement is only getting deeper. Season 2 will likely push Angel into more active investigations. As Harry's trusted colleague, he's often looped into sensitive cases, which means that he's going to start spotting inconsistencies, especially when it comes to Dexter. There's a good chance that he won't connect the dots just yet, but even seeing a pattern could trigger something he doesn't know how to explain. What happens when Angel starts to suspect Harry is hiding something, or worse, when he suspects that Dexter's interest in blood spatter isn't just academic? It's also worth noting that Angel and LaGuerta do have history, both personal and professional. As her ambitions grow, she might rope Angel into corners that he's not ready for, questionable cases, political moves, or conflicts with Harry. And Angel, being the kind guy who wants to believe the best in people, might not realize he's walking into something dangerous until it's too late. But there's another layer to Angel that often goes overlooked: his moral compass. He doesn't operate in gray areas. He believes in justice and believes in doing things the right way. If he uncovers something he wasn't supposed to, something Dexter or Harry tried to bury, he won't ignore it. He'll act. And that kind of conviction, even for someone as kind as Angel, can be just as dangerous as suspicion. Martinez brings warmth and eagerness to the role, but it's that sincerity that could turn season 2 into a turning point for the character. Angel isn't meant to be a threat, but in a world this messy, honest cops get people hurt. Whether he realizes what's happening around him or not, Angel is getting closer to something big, and if he keeps digging, he may find out more than he ever wanted to know. But not everyone's chasing the truth. Some are chasing power, and that might be even more dangerous. LaGuerta is back and she's climbing. In season 1, we saw the early sparks of her ambition, but in season 2, she's chasing real power. She's still sharp, still strategic, and still watching everyone around her, especially Harry. And now, she's starting to see inconsistencies in how things are being handled at Miami Metro, the kind that could point her towards the Morgans. Christina Milian confirmed her return with a celebratory video online, captioned, "Woke up feeling amazing. The wait is over. Dexter Original Sin is returning for season 2. Let's go." It's the energy you expect from someone whose character is about to stir the pot even harder. In this timeline, LaGuerta isn't the seasoned lieutenant yet. She's making her way up the ranks, but that's exactly what makes her dangerous. She's hungry, she's got something to prove, and she's not afraid to take risks to do it. If she starts sniffing around a case that Harry wants to keep clean, or if she stumbles on inconsistencies in Dexter's records, she won't just drop it, she'll dig. LaGuerta's dynamic with Angel is also worth watching. There's chemistry, yes, but also friction, and she's more ruthless than he is, more political savvy, and if she pushes him to make a move he's not comfortable with, or if she drags him into something bigger, Angel might realize that he's not just a partner, he's a pawn. The real tension this season could come from a LaGuerta-Harry standoff. She wants advancement, he wants control. If they end up working opposite sides of the same case, things could spiral quickly. And Dexter, still learning how to navigate suspicion, might find himself caught in the crossfire. From the OG show, we know he doesn't really get caught, but it's always interesting to see just how many times the authorities got close. Milian brings confidence and calculation to the role. She's not overtly villainous, just determined, and that's what makes her so compelling. She believes in justice, sure, but she believes in survival more. If she starts connecting the dots, she won't go to Harry for answers. She'll go over his head, or around him, or through him. LaGuerta's arc is likely going to be one of the most layered in season 2. She's a threat to Dexter, but along with that, she's a threat to anyone who thinks they can control the narrative. And if she gets a whiff of the truth, she will not be asking questions. She'll be filing reports. If you think LaGuerta or Masuka is going to stumble into something big, drop a comment with your theory. Which one's going to get too close? And how far will Harry go to shut it down? Behind the jokes and lab coats, someone's getting a little too close to the evidence though. Masuka may be cracking jokes, but he's not just here for the laughs. Season 1 showed us the earliest version of Dexter's longtime lab partner. Still sharp, still inappropriate, and already obsessed with forensics. But in Season 2, Vince is becoming more than just background noise. He's got access to the same crime scenes Dexter does, and if Dexter slips even once, Masuka might be the first one to say something, whether he realizes it or not. Alex Shimizu returns for Season 2, and he's one of the first cast members to publicly celebrate the renewal. Not April Fools, so ecstatic that we're coming back. Season 2 of Dexter Original Sin with the best cast and crew will return. Can't wait. That energy is exactly what Masuka brings to the team, until the moment he starts putting together something he shouldn't. Masuka's always been the kind of character people underestimate. His obsession with blood, sex, and morbid trivia make him seem like a clown, but underneath all that, he's a talented forensic tech. He notices patterns, he follows data, and he's not bound by the same emotional blind spots that other characters fall into. If something doesn't add up, Masuka will say it out loud, even if he doesn't realize the full weight of what he's pointing out. That makes him a unique threat in Season 2. He's not trying to catch Dexter, he's not suspicious, but he might stumble into something. A blood trail that doesn't match the official story, a sample that was logged too late, a photo that's missing a key detail, and once he starts talking, Harry or Dexter will have to decide whether to cover it up or to silence it. Expect Masuka to be more involved in active casework this season, whether he's helping LaGuerta or bouncing off Batista in the lab. His presence is going to be harder to ignore. The audience knows he's harmless, for now, but Dexter knows that too much harmless curiosity can get someone killed. Shimizu brings a lot of life to a character who could easily become one note, but here in this early version of Miami Metro, Masuka's blend of humor and raw forensic skill is going to make him more valuable and more unpredictable. Dexter doesn't see him as a threat yet, but that might be his first mistake. The most dangerous people aren't always the ones looking for trouble though. Sometimes they're just standing too close. Bobby Watt was Harry Morgan's partner long before anyone knew what Harry was hiding, and in Season 2, that history is going to matter more than ever. He's returning to the job with the same instincts, the same no-nonsense approach, but this time, he's watching his friend more closely, because something isn't sitting right, and Bobby's the kind of cop who doesn't just let that go. Reno Wilson celebrated the renewal by posting, "Season 2, baby, so thankful for another season with these amazing people." He's clearly all in for what's next, and so is Bobby, a character who quietly carries more tension than people give him credit for. He's not emotional, he's not erratic, but he's observant, and he knows Harry well enough to recognize when something's being covered up. Season 1 hinted at Bobby's suspicions, especially as Harry became more controlling and less transparent. In Season 2, that dynamic is likely to intensify. Harry's trying to manage Dexter, Bobby's trying to manage Harry, and neither of them fully trust the other anymore. It's a dangerous triangle, one that puts Bobby closer than anyone else to the real story, without him realizing just how bad it is. What makes Bobby a serious threat is his independence. He's not entangled in department politics like LaGuerta. He's not trying to prove anything. He just wants to do the job right, and when something doesn't line up, he asks questions. Straightforward, honest, unrelenting. That kind of pressure, especially for someone Harry used to rely on, could force Harry into making desperate moves. There's also the personal angle. Bobby has been around the Morgans for years. He's seen Dexter grow up. He shared beers with Harry after long shifts. He's not just a colleague, he's family adjacent. and that's what makes any fallout even more dangerous. If he finds something, it won't just be a professional problem, it will be personal, and Harry might not be able to talk his way out of it. Reno Wilson brings a grounded, steady energy to the role. Bobby isn't flashy, but he's solid, and in a show where secrets are everything, a grounded character like that can become a problem fast, because Bobby won't let go of a loose thread, not until he figures out where it leads, and if that thread leads him to Dexter, Harry may have to choose between protecting his partner or protecting his son. But it's not just cops and killers. Sometimes it's the people behind the scenes who hold the key to everything. Camila Fig doesn't actually carry a badge. She never works crime scenes, but she might be one of the most dangerous people in Dexter's life, and she doesn't even know it. Camila had spent years quietly maintaining the files and records at Miami Metro, and while she doesn't go out looking for secrets, she has the clearance and the curiosity to uncover one by accident. Sarah Kinsey has confirmed a return, and she thanked fans directly after the renewal announcement. "Thank you for watching. It was short and genuine, much like the character herself." But if Camila gets more screen time in season 2, her role could shift from background support to unintentional whistleblower. Camila has always had a soft spot for Dexter. In season 1, that affection felt harmless, but in a show like Dexter, loyalty can be lethal. Season 2 might put Camila in a position where she sees something's off in the evidence log, or a pattern in the case reports, and chooses not to report it. Not because she's corrupt, but because she cares, and that's what makes her dangerous. What if she sees a blood report that doesn't line up, and quietly adjusts it to protect Dexter? What if she notices discrepancies in the file access, and assumes it's just Harry covering for his son again? Camila isn't an investigator. She's a loyal friend, but sometimes that's worse. Because if she knows something and hides it, even unknowingly, she becomes part of the lie. We're also likely to get more personal moments between her and Dexter. She's one of the few adults who doesn't treat him like a problem to be solved. She offers warmth, kindness, and trust. But as Dexter slips deeper into his double life, even kindness starts to feel like pressure, because someone like Camila believes in him. And if she ever found out who he really was, it wouldn't just break her heart, it could break Dexter's ability to pretend he has any humanity left. You know, until he finds it again. Camila's storyline is one of quiet tension. She's not hunting Dexter, she's not even looking his direction, but she's surrounded by information, and she's close enough to the truth that a single accident could blow everything open, or worse, force her into making a choice that cost her everything. Sarah Kinsey gives Camila the calm, steady presence that makes her such an anchor in Dexter's life. But even anchors can become threats, especially when they're tied too closely to the thing trying to float away. And one final threat might be hiding in plain sight, just doing her job better than anyone else. Tanya Martin wasn't on screen for long in season 1, but she left an impression. As Miami Metro's crime scene supervisor, she had authority, sharp instincts, and a subtle no-nonsense edge that stood out, even in limited scenes. Now she's returning for season 2, and Sarah Michelle Gellar herself confirmed it, posting, "Season 2 coming to you." She even joked about the timing, writing, "Nope, not April Fools. I didn't even realize the date, promise." That confirmation set expectations high. Tanya may not be part of the core Morgan drama, but her proximity to evidence, case files, and department politics makes her more relevant than people realize. In season 2, if any of Dexter's kills come under real scrutiny, Tanya would likely be the one reviewing the forensics, and that puts her dangerously close to whatever Dexter leaves behind. She's not Harry, she's not Deb, and she does not have a personal stake, but what makes her such a risk is that Tanya doesn't care about the code or the family. She's here to do her job, and if the data doesn't match the story, she'll say something. That's what she's trained to do, and it's exactly the kind of thing that Harry can't control. There's also speculation that her role may expand this season. Gellar is a major name, and fans are already theorizing that her screen time might increase, possibly tying her to LaGuerta's political rise, or even turning her into a foil for Harry's cover-ups. If Tanya starts questioning reports, cross-checking timelines, or bringing in outside opinions, she could unknowingly spark a chain reaction that exposes everything. What makes Tanya such a unique addition is that she doesn't have to be suspicious of Dexter to cause him problems. She just has to be competent, efficient, honest, and that's all it takes to become a threat in a show like this. Because sometimes all it takes is one person doing their job too well to unravel the whole thing. Sarah Michelle Gellar brings a level of composure and experience to Tanya that makes her feel like a stabilizing presence at Miami Metro. But in a story where chaos is always lurking beneath the surface, stability might be the thing that gets someone killed. Still with us? Then you're exactly the kind of fan who sees the setup before the chaos hits. Make sure you're subscribed because we're just getting started. And if all that wasn't enough, the rumor mill is spinning, and these names could change everything. Talking about Brian Moser for one of them. Robbie Adel shared the season 2 renewal news with the caption, "Way to go, little brother," setting off a wave of speculation about Brian Moser's return. But as of now, Showtime hasn't officially confirmed confirmed that the character will appear in season 2 of Original Sin. Even so, the teaser line was just enough to get people talking, and for good reason. Plus, with how low-key his character was in season 1, even if his role is expanding, they'd keep things super hush-hush. Brian Moser, better known to longtime fans as the Ice Truck Killer, is Dexter's biological brother and one of the most chilling figures in the original series. If he appears in season 2, it likely won't be in Dexter's timeline directly, but through flashbacks or parallel narratives showing Brian's own path post-trauma. This opens the door to something that fans have quietly been hoping for, a deeper look at Brian's own descent. While Dexter had Harry and the code, Brian had nothing. What does the Dark Passenger look like without rules? There's enormous potential in showing how Brian learned to survive, and how he learned to kill. If season 2 introduces this, it won't just expand the world of Original Sin, it could be laying the groundwork for something bigger. Some fans are already theorizing that if Brian gets enough screen time and backstory, a Brian Moser spinoff might not be far behind. He's a character that people have long wanted more of, and with Robbie Adle receiving praise for his short appearance in season 1, it wouldn't be a stretch to imagine Showtime exploring what Brian was doing in the years before he re-entered Dexter's life. But nothing is confirmed yet. There are hints there, and the appetite for more Brian is real. Whether it is a flashback, a full side plot, or just a setup for something still to come, this is definitely a rumor worth keeping an eye on. Some theories start with a name drop, others begin with a whisper in a casting post, but Brian might not be the only ghost in Dexter's head. Now, we've already heard his voice in every episode, but what if we actually see him? Talking about Michael C. Hall's narration as the inner voice of young Dexter is one of the most effective links between the prequel and the original series. It adds gravitas, familiarity, and a sense of density to every scene, but fans are wondering if the connection might go one step further in season 2. Here's the theory. Michael C. Hall could appear physically in the show through a dream, a hallucination, or some sort of stylized flash forward. Nothing had been confirmed by Showtime, and there's been no public statement from Hall himself about filming scenes, but fan buzz online has been growing steadily since the season 1 finale, especially as the show leans further into psychological storytelling. There is a precedence for this kind of move. Other prestige dramas have used future versions of characters as narrative tools, especially when the present-day character is navigating internal chaos. Dexter's inner monologues could evolve into visual form, especially during moments of moral crisis. A glimpse of older Dexter could make the audience and young Dexter himself question where all of this is headed. A surprise cameo would also pay off for longtime fans, especially those who weren't sure how Hall's involvement would work beyond voiceover. If the show is slowly building towards a full circle connection with the original timeline, dropping Michael C. Hall on screen, if only for a scene, would be a big moment, especially with Dexter Resurrection right around the corner. Of course, it could just stay a voice, but if you're seeing shadows that look familiar, or if Dexter catches a reflection that lingers just a little too long, don't be surprised if we're looking at more than just the voice that's in his head. And if anyone is going to sense something wrong, it might be this guy. If you've seen the original Dexter, you know James Doakes didn't miss a thing, and that's exactly why fans are hoping he shows up in Original Sin. So far, there's no official word from Showtime about casting or story placement, but the fan speculation is strong. Reddit threads and YouTube breakdowns have been buzzing with theories that a young Doakes could debut in season 2 even in a limited role. If the show does introduce him this early, it wouldn't just be a fan service, it would add a whole new edge to Dexter's story. Doakes is the first person in the original series to truly suspect Dexter and openly confront him. Planting those roots now could reframe the tension between them as something years in the making. Even a single encounter, Doakes on a training rotation, visiting the precinct, or being assigned to shadow Harry would be enough to plant that seed. But there's a timing issue. Based on Dexter's age in Original Sin, it might be a little early for Doakes to realistically be at Miami Metro. This hasn't stopped fan theories though, as some believe that he could appear as a cadet or a military vet transferring into law enforcement, already bringing that aggressive, hyper-disciplined energy. Others think that it's better to save him for a later season, letting the anticipation build. If they do bring him in, there's dramatic potential beyond just the Dexter dynamic. A young Doakes might clash with Harry, question his ethics, or even spot inconsistencies in a case that Harry is trying to keep quiet. His presence could act as pressure on multiple characters, even before he knows who Dexter becomes. There's also talk of a Doakes prequel or a mini-arc gaining traction, especially with newer fans loving his blunt attitude and intense screen presence. If Original Sin proves that the audience is still hungry for that kind of energy, Doakes could get his own storyline down the line. For now, it's just a rumor, but if it turns out to be true, even as a one-episode cameo, it could be one of the most explosive moments of the entire season. But he's not the only one. We also have Tom Matthews. Now, he hasn't been mentioned yet in Original Sin, but longtime fans are waiting for for the name to drop. Thomas Matthews is a familiar face from the original series, a powerful Miami Metro figure who is one of Harry Morgan's closest friends and confidants. If he enters the show in season 2, it won't just be nostalgia, it could reshape everything happening inside Miami Metro. Matthews was Harry's equal in rank, if not in moral flexibility. He played politics well, knew where the pressure points were, and always managed to stay just enough above suspicion. Bringing him into Original Sin would add a new layer of tension to Harry's world, because unlike LaGuerta or Batista, Matthews wouldn't be distracted by ambition. He'd be focused, analytical, and old school smart. That's a problem for someone like Harry who's juggling lies at home and at work. Rumors of Matthew appearing in season 2 have been building across fan forums, with Redditors noting it's weird he hasn't appeared yet, especially since he was such a constant presence in Harry's life in the original show. It's possible that the showrunners are saving him for a surprise late season introduction or a setup for season 3. Either way, his absence has already become a kind of presence, and people are noticing. If he does appear, he could serve one of two functions. Either he becomes Harry's last line of defense, someone who helps him cover up Dexter's growing missteps, or he becomes the person who sees through Harry completely. In worst case scenario, Matthews could discover Dexter's secret before Dexter even fully understands what it is. He's not sentimental. If he suspects something, he'll act. That dynamic could also open up a parallel between Matthews and Harry, a slow building Cold War inside the department, tension over case files, disagreements about training, a quiet power struggle between two men who knew each other too well, to be honest. And from a broader story perspective, introducing Matthews now would help bridge the prequel into the original timeline. It gives fans a familiar face, while planting the seeds for the institutional rot we see later in the department. Whether he's a fixer, an antagonist, or something in between, Matthews has the potential to shift the tone of season 2 dramatically. But in any case, we're up for a crazy season ahead. Some of these faces are familiar, some are unexpected, and some haven't even arrived yet, but they're already turning up the heat. Each return means more pressure, each rumor a possible threat, and by the end of it, someone's going to get too close. Let me know which character you think poses the biggest risk to Dexter this season, and if you're watching all the way to the end, thank you. Make sure you're subscribed because next time we're going to be breaking down how dumb is Dexter really.